Good morning all. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
So we will start with our lecture. So today we are going to start with our next unit, that is metal casting processes. So in the first unit we have seen the introductory part about the manufacturing process. What are the manufacturing process? Selection of manufacturing process, then classification of manufacturing process. That part we have seen. Now we are going to see the second unit, that is metal casting processes. This syllabus already we have discussed of metal casting process. That quickly we will overview the syllabus. We are going to see in this chapter patterns, types of patterns, allowances, and materials used for patterns. Then gating system. Then sands used for the casting process, that is molding stand. Molding stand, then the properties and testing of molding stand,
Sir,
then the parameters like grain fineness, moisture content, clay content, permeability, such type of parameters of molding science we are going to see. Then what is core material, how core are made, that we will see. Then what are the molding practices? What is green molding? What is dry molding? What is loam sand molding? What is pit and floor molding? What is shell molding? Permanent molding? This type of molding we will see. Then how we get the molten metal? That melting furnaces we will see, and how molten metal is poured into the mold. That is gating and riser design, and it's a function that we will see. Then we will see just the overview of casting processes. What are the casting processes? Like sand casting, okay. Then casting design consideration, its capabilities and applications. And lastly, we will see the casting defects. What are the casting defects? So we are also going to see the numericals of casting, okay, numericals of this design part, that is riser and gate system design, and the allowances, numerical related to the allowances, pattern allowances, and gating and riser design. So we are going to see numericals regarding this part. So let's start with the first point.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
Sir, there is a small doubt regarding quiz 2.
just wait. Yes.
Regarding quiz 2, there is a doubt. Matlab, there's a question.
Yes. So quiz two, we are going to discuss that part. Okay. At the end of lecture, we'll
Okay.
discuss that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Now, if you see the casting process, so it is the one of the oldest process of manufacturing. So you can take before means 1000 BC. So it is started this manufacturing process of casting. Though it is so old, it is now currently used. If you see any technology when it is developed, so after some times it get vanished. New technology evolves. But if you take the casting example, still we are using casting. So why we are using casting? So though it is a very old process, because casting has certain advantages. Which advantages? So in casting, first we can we can manufacture any material. Okay, let it be cast iron. Okay, steel, cast iron, steel, then aluminum, any type of material we can cast in this casting process. This is the biggest advantage. Then there is no size limitation. We can manufacture a small wall and we can manufacturing a big turbines which weight is around 200 newtons. So such type of variation of size of products we can manufacture in casting process. This is the size limitation. Then third one is there is a no shape limitation. Any complicated shape we can manufacture in the casting. Okay, because what we are using here a liquid material, and liquid material can get accommodated into any shape. So this is the biggest advantage of casting, that there is a no size limitation, no shape limitation. Then whatever the tools we use in casting processes, okay, let it be molding, sand, pattern, okay, cope and drag, these all are very cheap compared to other process tools. So whatever the tools we use, they are cheap and simple. Then if you want to manufacture the casting which is having suppose 100 to 1000 or mass production, means suppose 1 lakh or more than 1 lakh, then casting is a very economic process when there is a batch or mass production. That's why due to these advantages, like any metal can be treated, there is no size and shape limitation, this is the cheap, simple tools and cheap cost of tools and economic process for batch and mass production, we go for this casting process, though it is very old process. Though these are the advantages, there are some disadvantages. This part we have seen. Okay, there is a we get poor surface finish in casting process, and the poor surface finish mode. So this part we will see while going to study this in deep. Why we get the poor surface finish? We get the poor surface finish due to the sand. Okay, that part we will see. Also, we get the poor dimensional tolerances. Tolerance also we have seen, plus or minus. Okay, so we get poor dimensional tolerance in the casting process. And if there is a batch production or mass production, this process is economical. But when there is a single production, when you only want to manufacture a single part, then this process is very costly. Then we need to go for alternative process like machining, milling, drilling, like this type of process we need to study. But selecting of casting process for a single product is very costly. So these are the disadvantages. Okay? And these are the applications where we use the application. Okay, so we will see this application. We can manufacture engine blocks also, bearing, pitch pedal, machine tool beds. Okay, we have seen the lathe machine. The lathe machine bed also manufactured with the casting. Turbine housing, turbine blades, turbine wheels, gear also, at various automobile components, flywheel, okay, rotor, which is used in motor plus in turbine, different types of frames, different types of water supply pipes, cast iron pipes, steel pipes, that all are manufactured in the casting processes with the different casting process, investment casting, sand casting. This part we will see. So these are the applications, advantages, disadvantages. Okay. Now we will study what are the basic terms, various parts which are used in casting. First of all, we will take overview of this casting parts or terms which we use in casting process, and then we will study one by one. Okay. Before studying this, I will play a video. In that you can see the various parts. Can you see the screen? Video of screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. So we will directly go to the point. Okay, here you can see the different parts. This is a wall. Okay, this is the casting parts. These are the automobile parts which are manufactured by the casting process. We are going to study how the casting process works. Okay, so this part here, whatever the part you can see, this is called a drag. Okay, this is drag box. Here, there is a half part of our part. This is called pattern. Okay, so what is pattern? That also we will see. Just we'll see the what are the parts. So this is the pattern, which is the replica of our final product. So this is the half part of our pattern. What we do? We place this pattern into the drag box. Okay, so this is the surface on which, this is the clean surface on which we kept our drag box. This is the drag box. Then here you can see the pattern, which is the exact replica of our part. After placing the pattern, what we do? We pour the sand. Okay, so this much, suppose we have poured this much sand. Then what we do? We ram it with the rammer. Okay, then again we put the sand. Again we ram it. So we repeat the process and we fill the drag box. Okay, now in the drag box there is a pattern. On the pattern we have poured this sand and we have rammed that sand, right? So this drag is completed. Drag box. Now what we do? We invert it. Now this is another box which is known as cope. So this one is a cope and here it is down part is called drag. So this complete cope and drag is called flask. Okay, so this cope and drag is called flask. Upper part is known as cope and downward part is known as, lower part is known as drag. Now what we do? Remaining half part of our pattern. So this is one part and this is another part. We keep that part. Okay, we match that part to the lower part. Then what we do? We attach that cope and drag, and then again we repeat the same process which we have followed for drag. We pour the sand and we ram the sand. Okay, so we complete the filling of molding sand. So this sand is known as molding sand, which is used to prepare the mold. Mold means cavity. Now what we do? We remove the cope and drag and then we remove the pattern with the help of pins. Okay, we remove the pattern. Now here you can see the cavity, or which is known as mold, and this is the molding sand. This is the drag. Here you can see the cope and these are the cavity or mold. Now we have prepared the mold. Again we close it. Now you can see the cut section view. So here it is the cut section view. So this is the mold we have prepared with the help of pattern. So this is the molding sand. This is the mold or cavity. This is called flask. Now we need to pour the molten metal. So we need to create the passage. We need to create the passage. So passage is created with the help of sprue. Okay. So here you can see this is the sprue from which we pour the molten metal and this get filled into this cavity. Once it is get filled, so it will rise from this. So this is called riser. Okay, this is a sprue from which we pour the molten metal. Molten metal gets filled into this cavity. Once it is get filled, so from the riser the molten metal will rise, and when you see from this riser, and we will stop the pouring of molten metal. Okay, now this is, you can see the molten metal is poured and the mold is filled. Once it is filled, it will rise into the riser. Once it is rise in the riser, this is called riser, we will stop filling. Once it is filled, we will wait for it to cool down for the solidification of this. So here you can see it is getting solidified. Once it is get solidified after cooling, what we do? We remove it. And this is our final product. Once it is cooled, we remove the cope and drag and we take out the part. So this is our final casting product. Okay. So this is the general procedure of casting. And these are the terms which we use in casting. So one by one terms we will study what is the function and what is the name of that part. Okay. Now let's suppose a simple example of this. I will draw the schematic diagram here. Okay. Consider. So from here we will see. So this is the ladder. Okay. So in the furnace, what we do? We insert the scraps. We heat this scrap and we make the molten metal. So here we get the molten metal. From the furnace, we will get the molten metal. So that molten metal we pour into this ladder. Okay. This is the molten metal. Before pouring the molten metal, we need to prepare the cavity. How we need to prepare? How to prepare the cavity? That part we have seen just. Okay. So as I told, there is a flask. Here you can see this complete arrangement. This one and this one is called flask. So what is the purpose of flask? To prepare the mold with the help of molding sand. To prepare the mold, flask is used. Now, flask have two parts. Which two parts? Cope and drag. So here you can see the cope and drag. Upper part of flask is known as cope and lower part of flask is known as what? Drag. Here you can see this is lower part, this is upper part. Okay, so cope and drag. Then here pattern is removed. So this part you can see. So this is called mold or cavity in which we pour the molten metal, right? Then suppose this is made with the pattern. Pattern we are going to study in the next slide. What is pattern? We have with the help of pattern, we have prepared the mold. Then we need to pour the molten metal. We will pour the molten metal here. We are pouring the molten metal. Okay. So to pour the molten metal, at the start, we prepare the large area, okay, which is known as pouring cup or pouring basin. This is known as this is made large because while filling we move here and there. Okay, we can move ladle here and there. So we make this sprue little bit large. This is known as pouring cup. So this is the entry point of metal casting, molten metal into the casting. Then here it is the sprue. Here you can see the sprue. So it will guide the molten metal. It will guide the molten metal to casting. So this part is known as sprue, which is vertical. Okay, you can see. Then this part is runner. You can see here runner. So what is the function of runner? While filling, okay, and while traveling the molten metal towards the casting, it creates turbulence. It creates turbulence like this. To minimize the turbulence, we provide the runner. So while going the molten metal from here to here, so its speed decreases and its turbulence decreases. So runner purpose is to decrease the turbulence. Okay, now our molten metal comes up to this point. Here it is the entry point, which is known as gate or in-gate. This part is known as gate or in-gate. So this is the entry point of molten metal into the casting, into the mold. Okay, here you can see this is the gate. Okay, now once it is get entered into the mold, it will start to fill. Now here one more part you can see, that is the core. We are going to study deep about the core in the upcoming lectures. Just I will give the overview of core. What is core? When there is a part which is solid, suppose this is a solid, right, which we want to manufacture, then there is a no need of core. But when suppose we want to manufacture the hollow part, let's suppose pipe. So this part we want hollow. Then what we do? We use such type of cores. Okay, here it is use core. This is also made up of sand. So we use this core and we make the hollow parts. How to make the hollow parts with the core, that we will see. So core, what is the function of core? To make the hollow parts. Okay. Now this will start, molten metal will start to fill this. When it is filled, it will rise into this riser. Once it is, when we see the molten metal came here, what we'll do? We will stop pouring the molten metal into the casting because it is get filled. It is got filled. So the function of riser, what is the function of riser? The function of riser is to see whether the cavity is filled or not. And second function is what? When we are pouring the molten metal, whatever the gases or whatever the air is there inside the mold, so that will get escaped from this riser. So that is the function of riser. There is one more function that we'll see while studying the riser. Okay. Now,
Excuse me,
here,
sir.
yes,
What is the function of another riser, the one above
yes,
runner?
yes. So here it is, as I said, if suppose part size is very large, okay, and due to that we make this screw also very large. So more material, molten metal is coming. So that will create turbulence. If suppose the part size is large, so to avoid that turbulence, we create this. So it will turbulence like this, it will reduce that turbulence. For that purpose, we create this riser. So that turbulence is reduced here, and once it is reduced, then it will fill or it will flow slowly into the riser. To minimize the turbulence, that is the riser function. So this riser. Okay. Generally, it is used when we manufacture a very large product. Okay. Then again, you can see here, these are called chaplets. Here you can see chaplet. So what is the function of this? To support the core. Now see, here you can see we need to support the core because at one position it is fixed and one is hanging. So to support that, we use the chaplets. So when we pour the molten metal, see here. So when we pour the molten metal, here you can see this is the core part. To support that core, we use the chaplet. The function of chaplet is to support the core. Now we are pouring the molten metal. Molten metal is get filled. Okay, and what will happen to this chaplet? So generally chaplets are solid, and our pouring metal is liquid, in the form of liquid. So it will liquidify these chaplets, and chaplets will be a part of casting. Okay, so that's why the chaplet size is very less small. Okay, and these are made up of same material that of casting. Whatever the molten metal is there, so chaplet is same, made of same material. Okay. So these parts we are going to study in detail. Okay. Just I'm giving the overall overview of what are the parts which are used in the casting. Like,
Sir, uh,
yes, yes,
when the cope and the drag are removed while forming the final product, even the
yes,
riser part must be solidifying and forming a shape, right? So do we
yes,
cut it off later?
yes. So after casting, there is a post processing. We call it as a post processing. We need to cut this gating system. So this riser part, this screw part, this open riser parts, all we need to cut. We need to also remove this core from the mold to make this head. So that is called post processing. So that also we are going to see. Okay, post processing comes under machining cutting part. Okay, we need to cut that to get the final product.
Okay, sir.
Yes. So these are the riser, pouring cups, spoon, flask, cope, dry, core, our main casting, chaplet, gate, runner. These are the parts and their functions. One by one, we are going to study. So our first part, and which is very important, pattern. So what we are going to study in the pattern, various types of patterns, the material of the pattern like wood, plastic or metal, then design of pattern, that is allowances. So pattern we have seen. What is pattern? It is the exact replica of final product with some modification. So with some modification, it is very important. So what is modification? That we will see in design of patterns, that is allowances. Which allowances we need to give. So it is the exact replica of final product with some modification. So one by one we will see types of pattern, materials of pattern and design of patterns. So these are the types of pattern. Single piece, split pattern, cope and drag pattern, match plate pattern, follow board pattern, loose piece pattern, sweep pattern, and skeleton pattern. So the first pattern is single piece pattern. So what is single piece pattern? When your product or part size is very simple, it is not complicated, then we go for the single piece pattern. Means what? Consider this is the drag, lower part of your casting flask. So here it, suppose consider this part. Okay. So we insert. This is the pattern. This is the pattern of your part. What we do? We ram the sand here. So what is this? This is the molding side. So only single pattern we have used. This is only one part. Because why? Because we have used, because it's a very simple part. Then what we do? We attach the cope part. Cope is also filled off. It is also filled with the molding side. Then what we do? We provide this gating system. So gating system consists runner, okay, pouring cup, then this screw part, and we provide the riser here. So we pour the metal, so it is get filled. Once it is get filled, it will start to rise in the riser. Okay, and after solidification, we will get the final product. So this is called a single piece pattern. Why? Where to use single piece pattern? When there is a simple size product or part is there, then we go for a single piece pattern. Now split pattern. So split pattern generally we use for the cylindrical parts. For example, why we need to go for split pattern? See the side view of drag. Drag means lower part of the flask. Now, if you use a single piece pattern, means what? This is our final product. We have made the pattern of only this shape, a single part, a single piece. Then we have inserted this single piece here. Then it is okay. First we insert the sand, molding sand. Then we insert the part. That is pattern. This is our pattern. This is drag. Now, after ramming, if you want to remove the pattern, whether you can remove this pattern, so it is difficult to remove that pattern. Why? Because when you remove, so this part of sand will also get removed. Okay, when there is a cylindrical workpiece and when you make that of a single pattern, then there is a problem. We cannot remove from that. So what we do, we cut this cylindrical part into two parts. We make two pattern, that is split pattern. Then how we do? Consider this is a cope, this is a drag. So half part of the pattern is in the drag and half part of the pattern is in the cope. Now you can easily remove them. Okay, so this half part you can easily remove from the drag as well as cope. So consider where we understood where we use this split pattern when there is a cylindrical shape. Now you can see the example. Yes.
Sir, please can you re-explain that why we can't remove that cylindrical pattern from the single pattern?
Yes. Now consider this example. So here what we use? We use a single piece pattern. This is the drag. And this is your pattern. This is a single piece. Okay. So if you remove, here it is a sand, rammed sand. Okay. After ramming, we remove this pattern. Okay. So when we remove, you can easily remove this. And after removing, you can have the cope. And this is the drag. So here, as it is a single and it's a simple, you can remove easily. But in the split pattern, suppose there is a cylindrical part. Let's take first drag. So this is the drag. If you take this as a single pattern, single piece pattern, so first of all, what we do, we insert the molding sand here, then we ram. Okay, suppose you have kept your part here, which is circular, and then what we'll do, we again pour the sand and you make a mold. Okay, this is the one example. Take the second example. When there is a straight part, so you have two examples, 1 and 2. So it is a straight, and this is the cylindrical. Now take these two examples and tell me which part is easy to remove, first or second one. What do you think?
First one.
First one. Okay, so due to the cylindrical shape, we cannot remove that. Here you can see, if you remove, so it will get straight. See here.
Okay.
Have you understood this?
Yes, sir, I understood.
So this is a straight, you can remove easily, but this is a cylindrical. If you remove that part, so how we will get the pattern? How we will get the cavity like this? Have you got this?
Yes, I got, sir.
When you remove this, we'll get the pattern like this, but we don't want. So that's why we go for split pattern. So we make the half part of this pattern. Half part is in the O and half part is in the drag. Okay, understood this split pattern?
Thank you, sir.
Next is cope and drag pattern. So it is similar to the split pattern. So what we do in split pattern, just now we have seen, this is the half part of pattern which is in a drag. Okay, then we have the molding sand here. Then what we do, we keep the cope, then we keep the another part of pattern, and then again we pour the sand. So this is known as split pattern. But when there is a large production, okay, when there is a large production, what we do, we make the mold separately. So this is a cope and drag. See a difference. So what we have done here, first we have prepared the drag. In the drag, we have kept first piece of pattern, then we have kept second piece of pattern, and then we have made the cope. So this is a continuous process. Okay, so making first drag, then go for cope. But in this, cope and drag are simultaneously prepared separately. In this, to reduce the lead time, so first cope and drag are simultaneously prepared, and then these are joined. In this, first drag is prepared, split and pattern. Drag is prepared, then we prepare cope. Okay, here cope and drag are separately prepared. When there is a large production and when we want to save the time, we prepare the cope and drag separately and then we join this. So that is the difference between cope and dry. Okay, I think it's a 10:55. So we will stop today. Remaining type of pattern we will see in the next lecture. Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Okay. So this is the quiz 2. Any doubt in quiz 2? See, the first question is primary shaping or forming process. So here it is which are the processes? Powder, metallurgy, plastic, and casting. These are the forming processes or primary. Deforming process, which is the deforming process? Rolling. Sorry. Then these are the match the pair. Then here, most of the students have doubt here. Parameters considered for selection of a manufacturing process for a given product. So we consider the roughness and tolerance of that manufacturing process and its a feature and operation cost. Flatness, we generally don't see. See, it depends on product. We generally don't consider flatness for every product or every manufacturing process. Okay, so only product feature and operation cost is the answer, and roughness and tolerance. And here, sand casted product are characterized.
But sir, when we like choose roughness and tolerance, and when we also try to choose product features and operational cost, it is not it's not pointing it out, and so we are not getting a point 1 point for that. Matlab we should
Yes,
choose na. We are
yes,
not
yes. If you select both the option, then you get the 1 point.
but that is not coming. We are not able to choose it.
You are not able to choose both the options.
We are able to choose only one option, but not two.
Okay. Okay. Yes, yes. So
Sir, same for the case of first question.
yes,
Yes, sir.
here I can see only one option you can select. Actually, I have selected here the circular part. I have to give the checkbox. In checkbox, you can select the multiple options. Okay, next time I will do that. Okay. So I forgot. Any other doubt regarding this?
No, sir.
So we will continue
Yes,
our
sir.
lecture.
Excuse me, sir. I
Yes.
have doubt about the last question. Yeah, what is the difference between low tolerance limit and poor surface finish and high tolerance limit and poor surface finish? Just the words are reversed in this case, both the cases.
In this case, sand casted products are characterized. What is the answer? Sand casting products. Is
High
low
tolerance limit and poor surface finish is the answer. But I chose low tolerance limit and good surface finish. So I didn't get the difference between these two options.
Okay. So in the casting process, what we get? Poor surface finish. So why we get the poor surface finish? See here. So these are the sand. So generally what happens? So this molten metal may go into the sand. So this is, it's called sand inclusion. Okay, such type of defects we are going to see in the casting defect. So as this is a sand surrounding this cavity, and due to the sand inclusion, what we get when we prepare, when we get the final product. So if you see in the microscope or for the general eyes also you can see. So these are such type of poor surface finish onto casting. When you see any casted product, okay, I have the example here. Okay, here you cannot see. Whenever you see any wall, okay, if you observe this wall, okay, so in that you can see there is a bad surface finish on that. When you look actually the product, then you will get. Okay, so why this happens? Due to the sand inclusion. So this sand may get fell into this casting. Okay, and due to that, you will get the poor surface finish onto the product. So that is the main reason we are going to see in the casting defect. So that is about low surface finish. That point of what we in casting we get the low surface finish. And the second is high tolerance limit. High tolerance limit means what? Suppose we want to manufacture the rod in the casting process. This rod we want to manufacture. Its original dimension is 50. But in casting, we not get the 50. We get generally around plus or minus 0.8, 0.9, depending on the type of casting. We can't get 50. We get around 50 plus or minus 0.8 or 0.9 nearly. So why? Because it is the solidification. Okay, so this also a casting defect that we will see in the casting defects part. So due to the improper solidification of the casting, so what happens when we melt any material? So it's get expand, and what happens when it get solidified? It get contracts. So when it contracts, its dimension changes. So due to the improper solidification, its dimensions vary to the high range, that is this high tolerance. So but if you see the machining operation, so with the machining operation we can manufacture the parts with very low tolerance limit, but in the casting we get the part with very high tolerance. So that is the answer. Poor surface finish due to the sand inclusion, okay, and high tolerance limit due to the solidification. So this
So
part we are, yes.
I didn't understand. Could you explain how does the high tolerance limit affect the product physically?
High tolerance limit means what? We want a product size 50 mm. Okay, suppose this part is going to fit any other, this rod is going to fit any other parts. Okay, it is suppose mating part. So we want this as 50 mm. So we already manufactured the another part which is having the hole of 50 mm. Suppose it is 50 mm, hole size is 50 mm. We want to insert the rod into this hole which is having, which should have 50 mm. But if suppose we manufacture the part of casting and it's supposed due to the high tolerance limits, its dimension is get 50.8 mm. So this rod will not get inserted into this hole. Whatever the assembly is there, assembly will not be proper. If suppose the dimensions are not proper exactly due to the high tolerance limit.
Okay, sir, got it.
Yes. Okay, that's
Excuse me,
it.
sir.
Yes.
So adding on to the doubt about the
Yes.
poor tolerance and high tolerance and low tolerance, around what range it includes in low tolerance and high tolerance? If it's around 0.6, so will it be in,
No.
low
So
tolerance?
in casting, see, in casting also there are various types of which casting you choose. So that tolerance limit changes. So we have seen in the first unit we have seen. Let me see this. So I have given the range. If you see the slides, okay, here, if you see, these are the slides in the first unit, okay, casting. If you choose the die casting, you get the good surface finish.
So we cannot see the slides right now.
Just wait on.
Yes, sir.
So depending on which casting process you choose, if you use sand casting process, you get the poor surface finish. So in investment casting, these values are changes, 12 to 25 microns. These are the microns. Then investment casting, die casting, we are going to see. So that contains very good surface finish. Okay. Talking about tolerance, sand casting, depending on the material, as I said. So when it solidifies, it get contracts in its dimension changes. So depending on the solidification rate, the tolerance, high tolerance limit is depend on that. If you see the sand casting, cast iron, very high tolerance, plus or minus 1.3 mm. Steel 1.5 mm, aluminum 0.5. Die casting, it is a good tolerance limit, only plus or minus 0.12 mm. So it depends on which casting process you choose.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Okay, we will stop our lecture here.